Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm a makeup artist and medical esthetician based in Toronto, Canada. Now, if you're a regular watcher of my channel, you'll know I've been gone for pretty much the entire holiday season, and that is because I was on vacation for the first time since the whole situation with the world happened. I got to see my family and spend the Christmas season with my family since Christmas of 2019. So I anticipated to work and edit while I was there, but if your family's anything like mine, it is so hard to concentrate. So now that I'm back, some of that pre-filmed content I did, I'll be editing it and putting up here in the new year. But today, kind of want to share with you just some products that I've been loving while I was on vacation. I'll let you know now, it's very simple. I'll share with you about a little treatment I had done when I was gone and just let you know kind of what all happened on vacation and share with you what's going to be going on with my channel in the new year. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So off camera, I've already done my kind of foundation base. So if you're not familiar with where I'm from, I am from a little place in the state of Virginia called Roanoke. And normally there is more humidity down there and the weather is just a little bit warmer than it is here in Toronto. And I don't know what was going on, if it was just my parents' house or what. The air felt so dry and my skin just felt parched for pretty much the entire 6 weeks I was away. So I didn't wear a lot of foundation. The foundation I packed with me was the Lisa Eldridge foundation. I'd been loving it before I left. And on vacation, something about that foundation just didn't look really great on my skin. It just made me look kind of like rough and like it made my skin look more dehydrated than it already was. So instead of foundation, I used what I have on today, which is the Ulta UV Physical Broad Spectrum SPF 21 Lightly Tinted. Now, this is a very deceiving product. So I'll put a little dot here on the back of my hand. And when you rub it in, it almost looks like a dark peachy color. As you massage it in, it just kind of disappears into the skin. It gives the skin a really kind of perfected look. I prefer the way 2 layers of this sunscreen looks on my skin than most any foundation I have in my collection. So you'll probably be seeing a lot more of this in kind of like my get ready style with me videos. I'll still be testing foundations because I've got a drawer full that I need to get reviews out on, but this is like my new kind of everyday favorite for like day-to-day makeup and sunscreen. So really love this Ulta. So I did try out a few more tinted sunscreens while I was on vacation because I'm always on the hunt for the perfect all mineral or inorganic filter sunscreen that I can find. And I tried a few, some were okay, one was not that great. So when I was in Virginia, I went with my brother and one of his friends to an amusement park near Williamsburg, Virginia called Busch Gardens. And it was in the like 70 Fahrenheit, which is I think like 22 to 25 range Celsius. So really warm. I wasn't gonna wear makeup because it's an amusement park. Why would I do that? It's just not my style. So that day I wore the Color Science Sunforgettable Total Protection Face Shield Classic SPF 50 with a PA rating of 4+. This was a really nice sunscreen. I mean, I wore it for that entire weekend. I wore it a few other days when I was on vacation. My complaint with this one is it pulls a little too dark, a little too orangey. I'll do a dedicated review on this later on to share with you more thoughts on this. Also, while I was on vacation, I took a weekend trip down to Miami, Florida to visit some other friends, and oh my goodness, I haven't been to Florida in years, and as soon as I came out of the airport, it's like humidity like smacked you, and it was like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which I believe is like 30 degrees Celsius, and it was really warm, really humid, and I only packed one sunscreen with me, and that is the Dr. Sam's Flawless Gossamer Tint. I have tint number 1. This is a broad spectrum SPF 50+. I don't know if it was just the climate I was in, but I really dreaded putting this on every morning. I mean, it was the only sunscreen I had with me. I wasn't gonna buy another sunscreen while I was on vacation because I had a perfectly good one. and this felt so heavy and so paste-like. Now that I'm back here in Toronto, it's cold, it's snowy, so this might be a better tinted sunscreen for me in the cooler months, but hot, humid summer environment, this was a big no-go. It felt like I had like a layer of like saran wrap on my skin, which was not pleasant in that weather. So that was the Dr. Sam's. Final sunscreen I tried out when I was on vacation was the MyShell Dermaceuticals Protect Sun Shield SPF 50 in the tint light. Now, this one you have to shake up really, really well. I've heard about this on YouTube. I was very eager to try it because I couldn't get my hands on it and here in Canada. So when I was in the US, I ran by Ulta, picked this up, and going on initially, it felt really nice. It's a very lightweight sunscreen, but some days I found it pilled on my skincare that I used, and then other days it just looked really dry. It kind of like aged my skin, emphasized all of my pores. So another one I want to try out a little bit more up here before I give a final verdict, but initial impressions while I was away, did not love this one. But when I'm starting my makeup routine while I was away, the first thing I always do is apply a little bit of a lip moisturizer. I ran out of my other tube of CeraVe Healing Ointment and I got a new bottle. So during the day, I just apply a very thin layer of this. At night, I apply a thick layer, almost like a mask. It's a really nice petroleum base. It's very similar to something like Vaseline, but it does have the inclusion of ceramides and cholesterol, like all CeraVe products. Now, after about 15-20 minutes of letting my sunscreen set down, I do like to add some color products on top, and this was a little bit of a test for myself. So before I left, I packed all the makeup products I was gonna use, and I realized with the products I had, everything I wanted was pretty much satiated, except for one thing which I'll talk about when we get there, but it made me think, why do I have so much stuff? Why am I constantly buying new stuff when I kind of review it and then I forget about it? First product I had that I was really excited to have with me is my Laura Geller Baked and Brighten Foundation in the shade Porcelain. So this is a baked mineral powder foundation. I love it as a powder foundation, but also when used very lightly, it works as a setting powder. I did pack my Causemetics loose setting powder, but it's loose. It can be a little messy and I just didn't want to mess with it. I wanted quick and easy makeup, so I used this lightly as a setting powder on top of my tinted sunscreen. The first time I was getting ready, I was like, oh no, I forgot all of my makeup brushes. Found out when I got home, I just packed them somewhere. I didn't check while I was on vacation, so I had all of my makeup brushes I packed in my luggage, just I didn't ever look where I put them. So when I was at Ulta, I did grab a few makeup brushes, and these 3 brushes, I washed them while I was on vacation. I didn't need anything else. So I picked up the Real Techniques number 227. This is the light layer powder brush. I picked up a Real Techniques number 402. This is the setting brush. This is the e.l.f. Fluffy Eye Blender brush. So 3 brushes and my fingers are what I use for makeup application while I was away. So with that Real Techniques powder brush, I just picked up a little bit on my brush and just kind of dusted over. And this is just really to help set down that tinted sunscreen. Since it is a cream product, any emollients it has, I wanted to lock down so any powder color products I applied don't look muddy. Now, most of the products I packed with me on vacation, they were all kind of tried and true products, but there was a product I tried right before I left that I really fell in love with, and that is the Chantecaille Pearl highlighter, which came out in their holiday collection with the little bird embossment on it. This is the only highlighter I packed. I used it almost daily because I love it so much, whether I was wearing other makeup or not. It's just a very subtle, beautifying product. It doesn't emphasize skin texture, and it's just really beautiful. So with that Real Techniques setting brush, just ran it across top of my cheekbones. Very, very subtle, but it's a beautiful texture. I kind of want to dig through my collection now that I'm back home, see if I can find something similar. Off the top of my head though, there's nothing I can really think that matches what this does on the skin. The only complaint I have with it is it's very expensive. I believe here in Canada it was 120 or 140. So very expensive, very much a luxury product, and it's limited edition. So if you missed it, you're gonna have to wait for it to come around again. That's the bad thing with limited edition products. Why I don't like to talk about a ton of limited edition products is once they're gone, they're pretty much gone. For bronzer, I packed my Laura Geller Baked and Bronze powder in the shade Fair, and I just really loved because even though it's a bronzer, it gives warmth out this skin. It has a little bit more of a cool pinkiness to it, which sets really well with my skin tone. And it just never looks heavy. And I mentioned a moment ago, there was something I did miss from my collection back home while I was away on vacation, and that was a shade of the blush that I packed. So the blush I packed was my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush in the shade Mood Exposure, but I really missed the shade Sublime Flush. Today though, I'm gonna be using Mood Exposure, same Real Techniques brush. This is a really beautiful kind of pinky mauve, a little bit more of a muted undertone. And for me, it just kind of pulls everything together. It gives a little bit of color without emphasizing the underlying redness I have. And it's a really nice shade for tying in bronzer. Then I always take whatever's left over kind of through the socket of my eye, on my chin and my neck, just to keep everything balanced and harmonious. Now, one of my really good friends here on YouTube, her name is Lena from Lena Lore. She has told me pretty much since I met her about some really great K-beauty products. So while I was away, I ordered one of the Rom&nd Better Than Eyes. This is from the music series, and this is called Dry Buckwheat Flour. I received this maybe 2 weeks before I came home, and to look at it, it's a very simple palette. I have not gone for the shimmery shade, but the other 3 shades, they are perfection. So I'm gonna start with that e.l.f. brush, and I'm gonna use the side of that e.l.f. brush to pick up the lightest kind of bone shade. And I'm just gonna use this as a quick wash from lash line up to my brow and give a little bit of highlighting and just kind of help balance the overall tone of my eyelid. And then I'm gonna take a little bit more and press it over my mobile lid just to kind of brighten it up a little bit more. I'm gonna now use the point of that e.l.f. brush, and I'm gonna go into the second shade on the top, so like the mid-tone kind of taupey brown. And I'm just gonna start by nestling that outer corner of my eye, run it through my socket, and then pull it out just slightly and take it under. Very, very subtle shading with this look. Now, one thing Lena warned me about that she said that I might like, some people are not crazy about, that some K-beauty shadows tend to be a little bit more on the sheer side, maybe even slightly powdery. They do have a little bit of powder kick up, nothing crazy, nothing that I wouldn't expect to see from a more kind of dry formula. It's not like a Pat McGrath or a Natasha Denona, which even sometimes Natasha Denona powders can have a lot of powder kick up. This one wasn't bad. And then just to add a little bit of depth, and this isn't something I did a lot, but I take the very point of my brush and go into that darkest shade on the bottom, pick up a tiny bit, tap off most of it, outer corner of my eye, and just kind of drag it at an angle. Give a little bit of extra depth to that outer corner of my eye. And then if something like that happened where there's just a little too much, I'll take my brush, go across my fingers, remove that excess pigment, and then lightly kind of just buff it until it's softened down. And whatever's left of my brush net, I'll go through and darken up the other side. Now whatever's left, just a little bit residual on the lower lash line. I did mention I've not tried the kind of shimmery shade, so I'm just gonna take my pinky, pick up a little bit of that shade, I'll place on the inner corner of my eyes. It's like a nice kind of like neutral champagne color. It's pretty sparkly. I mean, it looks like glitter in the palette, so not something I'm gonna reach for a ton, but I believe this little quad was under $20 US, so really great value. And there's a bunch of different shade variations. So I ordered mine from the Rom&nd Amazon store. They have an official Amazon store on Amazon.com, but you can also get it at Stylovana. You can also get them at Yes Style, Stylovana, and Olive Young, which is a newer site I found while I was on vacation. Really, really love this. Great everyday travel, easy palette. Something that might look a little bit different is my eyebrows. While I was away, one of my really good friends back home, her and her fiance opened up a tattoo place, and he's doing tattoos. She does semi-permanent makeup. So I let her do my microblading. I have wanted to get my brows microbladed for years, but I was so scared, and she's a really good friend who I trust, so she did my brows. I wasn't able to stick around to get my touch-up, so when I go back, we'll get them touched up. Here is just one session. I am so happy she got the color perfect. You have to be so close to notice that she really did anything or see the before and after. So since my brows are now microbladed, all I've been using is my Benefit 24-hour brow setter, and I just brush my hair into place. Product I struggled a lot with on vacation was mascara. I'm very fussy with mascara. I want something that gives my lashes a little bit more definition, a little bit of length, a tiny bit of volume, but I don't want it to smudge or Flake. So the two I packed with me are the two I was loving before I left. The first one was the Clinique Naturally Glossy in the shade Jet Brown. This just really started transferring under my eyes, so I really didn't use this, and it's been 3 months, so I'm gonna put this in my empties bin. Same for the Charlotte Tilbury Push-Up Lashes. This was a wonderful mascara until the end. Towards the beginning of the 3-month mark, so about a month before I would dispose of it, it started to flake, transfer to my upper lid and under my eyes. So this is nice, but it's a little bit more expensive. And just for something that's gonna act like that at like the end of 2 months, it's not worth the premium. So didn't love this. So while I was away, I picked up a new mascara that I haven't tried yet. It's something I've been wanting to try, and I finally picked it up, and that is the Liquid Lash Extensions from Thrive Causemetics. And I have the shade Crystal, which is like their black brown shade. I'm gonna apply a quick layer to my upper lashes, and then I'll be right back to share with you my first impressions. Here we go, up close. I didn't mention this beforehand, but the Thrive Causemetics Liquid Lash Extensions, it is a tubing formula. Some people don't love them. I personally really like them because generally those are the mascaras I have the best luck with without going for something like a waterproof formula. First impressions on this though, it applied very easily. It was easy to control, and it gave me a little bit everything. A little bit more dramatic than I was expecting, but could be user error. I'm very excited to see how this one does, if it smudges, if it flakes. Really nice so far. So my MAC lip pencil in the shade Dervish, this is one of my favorites. I've used it for years. So 2 weeks before I left for vacation, I had my Botox and my lip filler touched up, so I don't really overdraw. So my lips around the vermilion border, the color gets a little bit splotchy. So sometimes it's not easiest to see where my lip color starts and stops. It can look a little blurred in some areas. So this lip pencil, it's the same color as my lips. I don't have to film all the way around. I can kind of add a little bit of definition where I need it without worrying about looking too lip liner-y. When I was looking through K-Beauty after Lena's suggestion, she really stressed that I needed to check out more of their lip products because some of their lip formulas are just really unlike anything else. So I found these through an Amazon store. The brand is Hints. Hints does have an Amazon store, but their selection is kind of minimal. If you look on their official website, you can find a lot more products. So these are their liquid mood. They're like a liquid lipstick, liquid lip stain. I picked up 2 shades, which are 01 Prime and 07 Alluring. So I'm going to start off with 07 Alluring. I apply a thin layer to my lower lip, and then I kind of rub it and smudge it out. The shade Alluring. I love this because it's the texture it gives the lips. It's almost like someone just kind of filled in the lips. Like it gets rid of any signs of any like fine lines or texture on the lips. It's just like veil over your lips that's very perfecting. So this is the shade Alluring, which I wore the most. And right before I left, I picked up another shade. This is 01 Prime, a little bit darker, more of like a mid-tone rosy shade. So I noticed when I was looking at some of the K-Beauty websites and some of the trends, I noticed a gradient lip look was a big trend. So since this shade's a little bit darker, I like to take it just on the inside of my lip. And then once I have it there, I'll kind of press, and then I'll use my finger to kind of blur it out. And then just so things don't transfer, which once these dry down, they don't really move. I'm in the habit of taking a tissue and blotting. And you can see there's very little transfer even after they're freshly applied. This was kind of like my everyday when I wore makeup look for vacation. It's very simple, very easy, and it's just kind of like a easy thing that I like to wear. Now, what is going to happen with my channel here in 2022? Like I've kind of mentioned throughout the video, I've had a lot of time to think while I was on vacation. Think about how, you know, the massive amount of makeup and product I bought in 2021 was obscene. There's no way I'm gonna ever be able to use that. So while I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do a low buy or a no buy, I'm just gonna be more mindful about what I'm buying instead of rushing out to grab a new release for the sake of a view. I want to kind of cut that out. If a new product comes out and excites me, maybe I'll get it. Maybe I will wait and watch a few reviews before I buy something, because there are so many great channels. People like Maria from Night Star Beauty, Lena from Lena Lore, and Kate from Kate Face. They do some great reviews on new luxury makeup. You know, sometimes I felt like if I would have watched one of their videos first, I would have saved myself some money, because there's things I've got that I'm just kind of like, meh for me. We have this. This is the Natasha No Glam Face Palette. I picked this up during the Sephora sale. sale, and I filmed a video with this before I left. Who knows, I might post it, but this didn't wow me. It's a product that didn't thrill me. It was something I thought about returning, but then I'm like, I don't want to return something because it's been used. I worked for Sephora. If something's returned, it just gets thrown away. And I want to hang on to this, see how it does. Who knows, maybe next year, maybe the end of the year, I'll end up decluttering it. But this is just something I wished I would have watched some reviews on before I bought it, because I would have saved myself, like, what is this, like $80? So if I would have watched a review, I would have saved some money. For this year, some things I've already am starting on working on behind the scenes. I got some skincare devices, so some LED mask, an at-home microdermabrasion. I picked up a lash serum, and I'm starting to kind of tweak my skincare routine a little bit. And lastly, next week, I am starting a series of PRP, which is platelet-rich plasma treatments for my scalp to help stimulate hair regrowth where I do struggle with male pattern baldness. So this year, I want to be focused more on some of the skincare aspects, reusing makeup I already own and showing you how to work with that. Last year, I started a color series, so we talked about figuring out your personal colors, matching foundation. Through my vacation, those videos did really well, so that's something that I'm seeing that people enjoy, and I really want to focus on bringing more content like that people can find helpful any time of the year, whatever year it might be, because stuff like that's just good things to know. Really want to focus more on education helping versus talking about everything that's new. There will still be some of that, just not as much. Thank you all so much for spending some of your time with me today. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see all the new stuff coming in 2022, make sure you give this a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, y'all.